Assalamu alaikum, dear students of class 8. I am once again with you people to talk on the concept of the Indian judiciary. Before going to touch the certain aspects of the Indian judiciary, let me briefly summarize what we have discussed the last time with you people. I was talking about the introduction to the Indian judiciary system. First of all, I try to define the concept of judiciary, what judiciary is actually. It is the part of the organ of the government. Likewise, we do have the legislature, executive, and the judiciary as well. So later on, I try to discuss from its historical point of view how it tried to replace the British and Privy Council. That was the highest council of the appeal at a very particular moment. Later on, I was trying to define the independence of the Indian judiciary when on this 28th of January 1950, they laid the foundation of the highest court in India. That's what we simply call the Apex Court, the Supreme Court of India. These were the certain nature of the Indian judiciary which I was trying to discuss. And the topic which I have chosen to you for today, the subtopic rather, that's for you people for the today's lecture, that's the role of Indian judiciary. So how this Indian judiciary plays its role in functioning the smooth function of the democratic system in the country, where the rights are preserved, where the rule of law prevails, where the injustice is completely snoozed out, where the voiceless class is given the voice, where the rights and the duties of the people are privileged, they are safeguarded, but constitutionally, where you talk about at the lower hierarchy, or you talk about at the apex courts, what is simply called the Supreme Courts. So dear students, if you talk about the role of Indian judiciary, it has been predominantly divided among the three determinants. One we simply call it the disputed resolutions. The moment you talk about the disputed resolutions, it simply means the moment there's a dispute, the dispute means any issue, any deadlock, any query that demands an answer and solution. That's what we simply call a dispute. That needs a long discussion to reach up to the conclusion, and where the justice is delivered to the proper section of the society. So the disputes are resolved first of all. The dispute can be between the citizens of the country. It can be between the state and the states. It can be from within the government, it can be beyond the government, it can be among the pressure groups, it can be different organs and the stakeholders of the society and the states. The first and the foremost function of the Indian judiciary is that they are supposed to highlight the disputes and have their resolutions as well. So it is a predominant factor where the disputes are discussed first of all. What's the nature of the issue to approaching to the court? There is a simple concept. The average citizen of India is having the right to produce a simple pill, but we simply call PIL pill. Its full form is public interest litigations. Under this public interest litigation, every Tom, Dick and Harry can knock the door of any court smoothly, without any interruption, where he can feel that the rights were delayed and they should not be denied. For that very purpose, they can go to the court and file simply the petition there, what we simply call the PIL, public interest litigation. So the predominant factor of this judiciary is, when it comes to vis-a-vis its role, that's the dispute resolution. It resolves disputes among the citizens, among the states, within the states, and different stakeholders of the state as well. Okay, let's continue then. The second function, the second role of this Indian judiciary is that's what we call the judicial activism. Dear students, if we talk from the historical point of view, the credit for bestowing the country, the judicial activism goes to the United States of America, that we have borrowed the same concept from the United States of America, the judicial activism. So let's try to define the concept of, first of all, what the judicial activism is. If you go through this Black Law Dictionary, it defines judicial activism as it is a philosophy of judicial decision making, whereby the judges allow their personal views about public policy, among other factors, to guide their decisions. So, dear students, simply, very candidly and in a very crystal clear words, we can define it as when a court takes some legislative powers away from the legislators. It's an assumption of an active role on the part of the judiciary. Very beautiful line, I must call it. It's an assumption of an active role on the part of the Indian judiciary. So dear students, judicial activism, one of the, I must call it, it's a backbone of the Indian judiciary. Then the moment we talk about the legislature, where the laws are framed, where laws are passed, if the judiciary, if Indian judiciary feels, if they reckon, if they understand, if they fathom that the laws are undemocratic in nature, they are violating the basic fundamentals of the citizens of the country. They are overriding the fundamental values of the country. So they can strike down all those laws passed by the parliament of the country. So from its beginning till now, the various reviews has been taken by the Judiciary of India, where the decision of the parliament was completely declared null and void. They were declared completely. They were stricken down by the judiciary, while they shown their activism. It means that the Indian judiciary does have a power. It can override any law which they feel, after the brief interpretation of the long discussion, they feel that it overrides, it overwhelms any section of the society, where the fragile voice of Indian people and the citizens got unrepresented. So the law favors a particular chunk of a people. So that's why we do have here one of the predominant role which it plays persistently, what is simply called the judicial activism. So judicial activism, like we are having the dispute resolutions, the first role the parliament plays. The second one is that's the judicial activism. Without the judicial activism and this dispute resolutions, these are the two great the weapons they put among the hands of the Judiciary of India, which they can use to deliver the proper justice on proper time to its proper people. Okay, now the third predominant role that the judiciary plays, that's it upholds the law and enforcing the fundamental rights. Dear students, the moment you talk about the fundamental rights, occupying a special position within the statutes of the Constitution of India, that's the part 3rd of the Constitution of India. These laws are justiciable. Let's have a quick look what justiciable term mean. It indicates that the moment these laws are violated, if a citizen of India, that if he feels that the laws are violated, he or she can go to the court and get these laws done there. He can file a petition that my laws are violated. Let's, for example, take an example. If someone, the student community is avoided, he's scared of getting education, he's stopped by his parents or by any other group that you cannot receive education, formal education, he or she can simply go to the court. He can file appeal against that very person or any stakeholder, and the fundamental, which is fundamental right, and he can ask for the court to fulfill his fundamental rights. So if somewhere the judiciary feels that these fundamental rights are violated by any organ of the government, any legislature, the legislature is interfering, is intervening, is interrupting. So immediately what they can do only one thing: the judiciary can use its power, they can uphold the law and enforce the fundamental rights. So all the long list of fundamental rights, whether it's the right to life, expression, religion, belief, freedom, right to thought, right to expression, all those rights can be materialized with the help of the judiciary, and every citizen of India is having the rights to to enjoy absolute authority and absolute beauty of all those rights which the Constitution of India is bestowing them. So these were the three basic role which the Judiciary of India is playing. That's the disputing resolution, first of all, the judicial role, the next one, and the third one is the upholding the fundamental rights. So, dear students, now the question comes to my mind, that strikes to my mind rather, that is Indian judiciary this is independent? Is Indian judiciary enjoying this independence? The answer is absolutely yes. They enjoy their independence, but this independence is only on the behalf of this when the powers are separated, when there's a complete clear view, when there's a very clear crystal demarcation line between the legislature, executive, and judiciary, where we feel that there's no interruption of the legislature, where legislatures are not interrupting, they don't corrupt the judges. And when it comes to appointment of the judges and the juries, whether it comes to Supreme Court, whether it comes to lower court, whether it comes to district courts, all those municips and judges, time and again who are appointed there, constitutionally, they are not corrupt. There is not any sort of nepotism and favoritism during the appointment, or if the case is filed there is not any sort of political pressure, or there is not a political push from any side that the decision should go in this favor or that very favor. So taking the long case of Indian judiciary into consideration, we can witness, and we are proud to feel that Indian judiciary is it's completely independent, and it's enjoying complete separation of power. There is no interruption, there is no intervention, there is no overwhelming, there is no exaggeration, there is no mutilation among the powers of the Indian judiciary from the legislation organ. So dear students, let's conclude today's talk, this short video, by this notion, by this bottom line, that Indian judiciary plays a great role in country where the powers are divided, disputes are resolved, whether it's among the citizens or among the states. Then we are having the judicial activism, where we witness that any law passed by the parliament is violating the fundamental rights. Definitely the judiciary can have its eagle's eye on it, and they can override that same very law. And lastly, that they are the caretakers, they are the stakeholders, they are the guardian of the fundamental rights. So because they are justiciable before the court of India. So with these words and lines, I wish you all the best and stay connected. Till then, I will meet you once again. All the best and Allah Hafiz.